Hi, in this video, I will continue the third part of the page object model. So again, to just why do we need the page object model? Just to make our framework more readable, more manageable, and to avoid the code duplication, right? We just want to write some methods so that we can use it over and over. We don't want to duplicate the methods. And as I already showed you in the first one, so let's say that you have a login test here, right? You have a login test. Whenever you have a test in TestNG, you need a before and after method, right? So you need a before and after method. Before method, usually we set up the driver to maximize it, to close it, to open up the website, and the after method usually close the driver. So we need this for every single test, right? For example, we have this login test, we have this test username label, and all these test cases, we need this, right? We need this before and after method. But we don't want to write this over and over because it consumes a lot of our time and we are going to eventually run into the problem. So what we can do, we can put this inside a class as I did, and this class is called TestBase, right? So we put it inside this class and it's called before and after method. And then right now, we just need to extend this in every single test. And this test, also all the test cases, we just need to extend this, right? Extend this, and that's it. As soon as we extend it, we can use it. For example, all these plus we have, just need to extend it. All right, so also in the same way, as I say that when it comes to the page object model, every page that you work, you have to create a new class, right? For example, you have here we have login page, and then we have the product page. So for the product page, instead of like, let's say, instantiate, create a reference of the web drivers, and then what you need to do here, generate the constructor, right? So we need to do that for every single classes because we need that to create a constructor. But there is also another way that we don't need to repeat that over and over. We just write a method here in the driver. We created a class, and inside that class, we created a static method to create to what? We have constructor to create a constructor and also to instantiate the driver so that we don't need to repeat that over and over. So this method is actually public so that we can access it. It's synchronized, meaning that if you're using the in parallel mode, then it's not going to run into the problem, right? And so in that case, also here, one thing important, we directly write the Chrome. So we don't want to, we have also a method for that, right? That method was configuration reader.get properties. Now, let's actually add another value to this properties file. And let's call this browser, right? Let's call this browser. And what I need to do here, I'm going to add Chrome, okay? I'm going to add Chrome. All right, so now let's add here browser, okay? And right now, also I told you that it's not professional to directly add your method. The method that the test data directly, right? It's not professional to type in your data, test data directly. Also, we develop a method inside this class, configuration reader, and it's called get properties. So in this method, what we did is we got our properties files and we loaded into the file reader. So file reader reads your file. Whatever file you put in the right, it reads it for you. So after it reads it for you, then we load this into the properties object. So we create an object of the properties class, and then we load it into that. So after loading into that, then we use this properties class as a method called get properties. So what does this method do? This method, whenever you pass the key, it returns you the value. For example, here, if you pass browser, it gives out Chrome. If it pass site, it gives out this website. So whatever value key you pass, it returns you the value, right? So This was about this. So as you can see that now, right now, everything is more manageable. There is a lot of method that we can use it, and there is no duplication. So let's continue our, let's continue our, let's say that we want to add here another method. This is, oops, not this one. So let's say that, let's create another class, and I'm going to call this class browser utils, right? Let's call this browser utils. And right here, let's create another class. Okay, let's create another method. So the first method that I can create here, let's say that we are using, sometimes you're using thread.sleep, right? So we are using thread.sleep, and we have to, whenever we use it, we have to do, we have to like add the exceptions and, method signatures and all this stuff. So if you write it over here, we can simplify this. For example, public void wait, let's call this wait. And what we need to do here, let's say that just want to add 1 second, right? I want to add the parameters and call this second. And then what you need to do, so let's say that because second is usually like tired, yeah, because it has a lot of digits. So how about if we multiply this second by 1,000, right? So right now it's pretty easy. For example, if you want 5 seconds, right? More action, try catch and block. For example, if you want add 5 seconds, then in that case, you don't need to type in 5,000. You just pass in 5, okay? Because it multiplied this by the 1,000, which is the seconds. All right. So this is a method we can also use. And right now, let's actually create some more, do some more automation and show you some more example. So let's log in. I'm going to copy that password and log in. Okay. All right. So now we logged in this page. As I told you, when it comes to the page object model, every page that you work on, you need a page class, right? So let's create this class products, because this is product, right? So let's create another class and go to the pages, right click and go and create a product. But we already have the product here, right? We don't need to create another product, okay? Because we already have that over there. All right. So now that we already have this over here, what we need to do, just open it. And now let's what do you want to do? Let's decide. So let's say that I want to pick 3 items from this, right? For example, I want to pick this one. I want to select this one and this one. And then I want to click on this one. And I want to make sure that there are 3 items, right? I want to verify this. How can I do that, right? So let's do this. Go to the all items. Just do a refresh. So let's first, if you want to pick this, we have to find the element, right? So let's find this element and see that. All right. So we got an ID, right? So let's see if this ID is unique. What you need to do, just add hashpound and then the ID. You see that this is unique. We can use that. All right. So let's use that. Go to your product page. And as I told you, what you need to do, what's the first item that we have here? Backpack, right? So let's call this a backpack or a backpack, right? And again, what I need to do is by ID, because we already have the ID, right? And copy that. Let's find the other one. Okay, let's find the other one and see this one is also has an ID. So let's copy that ID and go back to our IntelliJ. And what was the name? Forgot that. It is bike light, right? Or a bike. So let's call this bike light, okay? And what we need to do, again, we are going to use the ID because it is the ID and copy that, okay? So the third one, let's actually find the third one. And we are going to also pick this one, right? So let's say this one also has ID, which is pretty easy. Copy the ID and go back to your IntelliJ. And it was, what was a shirt, right? I think it was a shirt. All right, so what we need to do is, again, ID and paste that value. Okay, all right. So now we've successfully find the elements that we are looking for. Of course, we have more elements. So here, also, after we added the element, we need to click on this one, right? So let's see what is this one. This one is also as ID card, right? So let's go back and type it as a card. ID, paste it. All right, so we find the card. Now let me actually add 1, 2, 3. So you added this, click on this one. And now we have to make sure that there are 3 items, for example, because you add 3 items, right? So let's click on this. For example, this is item first. And okay, card item. I think we can use this card item because it is a class and this is the same for all of them, right? So let's say had a dot and then paste it. Yeah, so there are 3, right? Now we can use this card item to verify that. Just what we need to do is you need to, let's say that, let's use the expert, right? So let's go back and see what this div, the tag name is div, okay? So I'm gonna use div and then class, all right? So paste that. Okay, there are 3 of them. All right, so then now copy that and go to your IntelliJ again and just type in here what I need to know. For example, you can say card items, right? Cards item. And then again, we are going to use XPath this time. All right, so now so this is the first step when it comes to page object model. You need to create a class and also find all the elements. Now that you find the elements, you need to write your method to perform the action, right? So the first thing that we need to do, what we need to do, public void click, for example, backpack. First time we want to click on the backpack, and that's it, right? So what we need to do here, also, let me show you that we can use the weight. Make sure you use some weight. So let's say use WebDriver weight. Oops. WebDriver, where are you? Okay. WebDriver and WebDriver equal to what? New WebDriver. And now what we need to do is we need to use driver.get. And I'm going to have, let's say, 30 seconds, right? So I'm going to have 30 seconds. All right. So this is an exception. All right. So that's it. Now I'm going to use wait for this. All right. So let's say that, let's use wait dot until exceptions dot element to be clickable, right? So I'm going to, then what I need to do, I'm going to use driver dot find elements. I already find my element and it is backpack. What I need to do is I just need to click on it. Click, right? That's it. So this is the first one. Oops, I put in the wrong place. Sorry about that. It was inside the constructor. I need to put it inside the method, right? So here. All right, so let's actually create another method, but I'm going to copy that to save some time. This is basically the same thing. But here we need to click on what? Click bike, for example, let's say. Okay, so now what is this? Yes, we need to have the method signature and we need to have the method signature, right? Okay, so this is a backpack and the next thing that we need to click is a bike light, right? We need to change that to bike light. And in the same way, let's create another one. The other one is what? What's the other one? Oops, what did I do? Look at this one. All right, so let's create another one. All right, and call this, what is the product? It is shirt, right? Click shirt. Let's call this click shirt. Oops, click is right, wrong. Click shirt. And now we need to pass here shirt, right? So shirt. All right, so now we have 3 methods that we click 3 items. What else I need to do? Again, I need to click on the card, right? So after you click the item, you need to click on the card. And now we can say click card. Now pass here, cart. All right. Okay. All right. So we click on the cart. After we click on the cart, we need to make sure that this is 3, right? Make sure that this is 3. So we need to type another method. Okay. So did we have the element car item? Yeah, we had the element. And now go back. We need to write another method to get the number of the item, right? So what we can do, we can say public int, the return type is int, and I can say that return cart size, right? We want to get the cart size from the application. And what else I need to do? I need to put this inside the web element because this is a collection. This is not only 3, if you remember there. And I can say cart list and equal driver.get drive dot find element, and then I'm gonna put that cart items, right? Okay, so there you go. We created this, and now what I need to do, what's that error? Oops, here it's supposed to be elements, right? Instead of elements. Oops, here actually it needs to be WebDriver, web element, sorry. Web element. All right. Okay, so now we just need to return the size. We can use the method get.size. Not size, actually, not get.size. All right, so after we returned it, and we need to return it, right? Return the size. All right. So, okay, now all our method is ready. Okay, that's the thing. First, you need to create a page, then find all the web elements. After you find the web elements, you write your method. So now everything is done. And now go back to your test, because as I told you, test is separate from the pages. Now you can use this over and over, everywhere you can use. You just need to create an object of this proper products, and then you can use it in 100 test cases, right? Instead of keep typing over and over. All right, so right now what we need to do, we need to create a, let's say Java, and we want to test cart, right? We want to test cart. We want to make sure that the cart, or I can say test cart functionality. All right, so we created test cart, and now we need to, what we need to do is, let's write a public void, and we can say that verify cart functionality, right? Functionality. So now we want to make sure that the cart in the website works properly. Okay. All right. So now we need to create an object of the product, as I told you. If we, it's product, and product is equal to the new product. Okay, that's it. So now we create an object of just add a method signature. Okay, we create an object of this. Now, why do we create it? Because the reason is that we cannot access, here we have method, right? We cannot access this method if we don't create an object. We can only access this method. These are not static. You see that? These are not static. We need to create an object. All right, so let's go back to the test cart functionality. Now that we create the object, use the object, and then now we can access all the method that we wrote. So first thing, we are going to click on the backpack, right? And after we click on the backpack, what we need to do is click on the bike, right? So after clicking on the bike, what we need to do, we need to click on the shirt. Okay, after we click on that, we need to click on the cart, right? So after we do that, so as you know, the actual size, we want to have 3, right? We can say 3. This is that's actually the actual size. Actual size is equal to 3. And now we want to make sure that we are getting from the website. So the website also must match this, right? And we can say actual size. Then what we need to do here, we need to call that method, right? Product dot, what was the method? Return cart size, right? It's going to return the cart size for us. But before doing that, we need to log in, right? So now we need to create object of the login class, because we also need that class as well. And I'm going to call this login and login. Okay. So now we first need to log in. I'm going to use the object of the login class to log in first. And what was that? First is text and username text. And I'm going to use configuration reader that properties that we saw. So what is that? First is user. All right. And now I'm going to use the send password text, right? Send password text. Again, I'm going to use configuration reader properties, get properties that we just developed. And next one, and I need to log in. All right, so now we should be ready. Okay, so now let's run the test and see that. Oh, I almost forgot that I need to extend the TestBase, because in the TestBase we have the before and after method, right? So let's run this again. See what happens. Okay, so what's going on here? Say that an exception must be caught. What? What's going on? Page object model 25. Unreported exception must be caught or declared. Okay, so we have some. We need to add a method signature to these that we just used. So let's add the method signature, and let's add. All right, so let's see what else we got here too. And that's it, right? Do we have more? Yes. We got one more. We got one more. All right. So let's run it again. Test code functionality and run this again. Okay. Add a method signature for this one. All right. So now let's go back and run this. Oops, what's going on here? Verify title. Method signature. Okay, now go back, run this. Oops. What is going on here? Method signature. All right, so finally, I think it's ready now. So it logins the application and picked up 3, and that's it. Test passed. Okay, so let's say that if you want to print, make sure that it's working. We can say our method working. We can say products inside the printout, and then we can say return card size. All right. Also, let's actually add something here. Just had the we can say that card size, right? All right, so now let's run it again and see. Okay, there you go. Now, and say card size 3. All right. So this is how you manage your test cases and test cases in page object model. So let's say that if you want to add more stuff to this, what we can do. For example, let's say that we can write a method to get the screenshot, right? So let's write another method since we have a little bit of time. Let's say that I'm going back to my browser util, and what I need to write here, I'm going to write a method to, I'm going to call this a static. And let's actually take a screenshot, right? So let's write a method to take a screenshot. Can say screenshot. And let's actually have a name for this. And that's it. So what's going on here? Public static, and let's the return type make this string because we need a return type. Okay. So how we can take a screenshot in Selenium, and we can also use this in utilities so that whenever we need it, we can call it, right? We don't have to keep repeating over and over. All right. So the first thing I need to do, I want to have the time when I want to take the screenshot, I want to have the time. So I need to create an object of the date, okay? So let's say that I'm going to create the object of the date. So after I create it, what I need to do, I'm going to have the name. I'm going to have the name. First thing I need to do is change it to a string because of my return type is a string, right? So I need to change that to the string. And then what I need to do, I need to replace that. I need to replace it because it matches the time, right? And with this one. And also I want to replace any space, right? Any space with the underscore, okay? So this is what I want to do. I want to add the time to my screenshot. So when it comes to the screenshot, you are going to use the take a screenshot, right? Take a screenshot interface. All right, so let's say that, for example, I'm going to have a path so that later on I can access where the screenshot is stored, right? So let's call this path, and then let's say that I'm going to use the system system properties class, right? System property class, basically what it does is it returns the properties of your operating system, right? For example, I can say system dot get properties in form of key value pair. For example, I can say os dot name. It's going to return the name of the what? It's going to return the name of your operating system. For example, system dot get property. System property is a class in Java that you can use it to manage your system, your operating system. Okay, so right now I can say if the system, I can say that if the OS, right? I can say if the OS dot name, if my operating system name dot equals, okay? Oh, what's going on here? Yes, I need to use the system. Okay, so if system dot get property, and I can say that if the OS dot name is equal, ignore case. So this is actually my operating system name, okay, or the Mac. For example, I can say that, or you can also like make it general to only, for example, it starts with a Mac, but I'm going to use this one. Okay, you can say it starts with a Mac. If it is a Mac computer, then what it can do, for example, you can say, when you take the screenshot, right? When you take the screenshot, put it where? You can say that, what it can do, you can say path, and you can say again, system dot get properties. And here what we can do is dir. And now I can say that store that in this place, okay? Store that in my test output, right? We got the test output right there in the framework. And then store it inside after you have the test output, what I need to do, you have the name, right? The name that comes from and then what I need to do is, and also add the PNG extension, okay? PNG extension. All right, so if it is not a Mac, so what if it is our other operating system, let's say if it's a Windows, if it is not a Mac, then you can say system dot get properties, and now we can also ask let's say user.dir. The Windows path is different, right, from Mac. So we use the Windows backslash, right, test output. Then you can say that, let's say that if you want to store that inside a folder called the screenshot, right? The screenshot, and then you can have the name. So what was the name? You had the name, and also you're gonna have the PNG extension. So if that's for the Mac and that's for other operating system, the else part. So now what we need to do, we need to use the screenshot, take a screenshot interface, take a screenshot interface, and then what you can say, take a screenshot and equal to driver.get driver. So you need to cast it, because if you don't cast it, you're not gonna use that. So first of all, we need to add a method signature, and now we need to cast it. Cast it to the take a screenshot. So because if you don't cast it, you cannot use the properties of the take a screenshot class. So now that we take the screenshot, we want to store this, right? We want to store into the file, and what we can say that, so let's say call this source, and we use the take a screenshot dot get screenshot as. So how do we want to get a screenshot? As output file. We want to get it as an output file. So we want to get the screenshot and want to get it as an output, as a file. And now, where do you want to store it, for example? Again, we can say file, and we call this destination. For example, where do you want to, when you take it as output, and where do you want to store it? For example, we can say new file, and we want to store it into the path that we already defined. Okay, so after you want to store it in the path, then you need to, what else you need to do? You need to copy that from the source to the destination. You can say copy files, and you can put source and destination. All right, so now this one actually return. This is how you take a screenshot. So the return method also, we're going to return path, right? We're going to return path. All right. So right now we completed this method, and let's say that if you want to take a screenshot, then in that case we can do that, right? So let's go back to one of our test case. Let's say this one, and before, after, let's say here, right? Before this, right here, we want to take a screenshot. So what you can say browser util.get a screenshot. So I'm going to call this cart, right? Cart view, for example, cart view, whatever name you want to put it right here. So let's run this. Okay. All right, so let's see that if the cart has been created. All right, so the cart seems that has not been created. We are at the test output. So we need the test output. So I think that because this project is new, what we need to do is we need to add some plugin, I believe. So if I go to the plugin, okay, not here. So let's go to, where was that? Run. Yeah, edit configuration. And then what we need to do here, we need to click on listeners and add listeners. Reportable. So let's actually add this and add another one. Report fail reporters. Click on apply, okay. So right now, also I believe I need to go to the preferences. Let's actually add this plugin. And what we need to do, we need to have a plugin, TestNG, right? TestNG. All right. So let's actually install this. Apply, okay. Okay. And let's create this. All right. So what I need to do here is okay, what I need to do is just restart my browser. Okay, restart my IntelliJ. Let's actually open it again. Okay. All right, so now what I need to do, let's see that. Create a test engine. Okay, this. All right, and copy that. Okay. Let's run this. Okay. First output. It was not created. All right, so let's see that if you can address another, I don't know if you can create another, let's say, let's create another directory. And I'm gonna call this screen, okay? Screen. No, I think we can do that. All right. So I don't know why. We need to create a test output that usually get done by creating a report, right? And right now it's not actually, for some reason, it's not creating it. We need to create the report so that the test output file should be generated, okay? Before we can see the screenshot. All right. So all right, so that's it about this tutorial, and this was the last part of the page object model. I hope that you guys have a clear picture of this by now. And thank you for watching this. I will see you in the next one.